The so-called PC never fails or never ceases to amaze me. So this past weekend, and by the way, I'm recording this video on February 20th, 2023. This past weekend, you had the NBA All-Star Game, All-Star Weekend, All-Star events and everything like that. I didn't pay attention to it. I haven't really paid attention to anything All-Star related with the NBA for quite a few years. It's nowhere near the same or the glory days of what it used to be. All-Star Weekend and the All-Star Games and all of the events used to be something that you wanted to watch every February, like that third weekend of every February. But now it's like, it's whatever, especially since they took out the whole East versus West, which I thought was the best way to do it. Now they got team this and team that, and the people get to choose whoever they want on their team. I don't really care for that, but it is what it is because it's not my league, so I don't make the rules. But anyway, Kyrie Irving was, one of the All-Stars. When it comes to the All-Stars, in case people are unaware, when it comes to All-Star, they pick a few select people from different teams who have standout statistics for whatever team it is that they play for, and then they get put on a ballot, and then the fans get to vote for the people that they want to send to the All-Star game to play in it. And Kyrie Irving was one of the people that got chosen and selected based on votes. So this is all a fan voting process. And he got selected to go. And the All-Star game was in Utah this year. And the Utah Jazz, that's where they play at. And you all know Utah is the Mormon state. And trust me, I'm getting to the point here. So Kyrie Irving, has been plagued with a lot of controversy in the last couple of months because of that link that he posted up on his Twitter account, which they completely over exaggerated and blew out of proportion. But you know how PC is. And when they were calling out the players, he got booed. Not surprised. He got booed from the crowd. And like they said, that he really didn't get any type of applause. He just straight up got booed. It got to the point where now, whenever Kyrie is playing, it's always going to be some hecklers at the game, as if this guy's doing stand-up and he told a bad joke and someone is like wanting to throw a tomato at him. But they pretty much booed him. And it's kind of crazy because, like I'm saying, y'all voted for him to go there. So what you voted them to go there just to boo him, it's the weirdest thing. Now, the point that I'm getting to is that while they booed Kyrie Irving, they cheered on another NBA player who no longer plays in the NBA, but they're seen as a legend in the NBA. And that person will be none other than Karl Malone, who you see right here. Of course, this is a much older looking Karl Malone, but it is Karl Malone. And the reason why it's become a little controversial that they will boo Kyrie Irving, but they would cheer Karl Malone is because, if you're unaware, Karl Malone has a very shady, dark past that for some reason or other, he was able to walk away from what he did unscathed, considering what he did do should have gotten him some years behind bars. Now, in case y'all are unaware, back in the 80s, Karl Malone was 20 years old, like around the time when I'm talking about. Karl Malone was 20 years old and he had a child. However, the child that he had was with a little girl who was only 13 at the time. Now, this was back in 1984. And Karl Malone was 20 years old and had a child with a girl who was only 13. She was just becoming a teenager. And besides the fact, Karl Malone was 20. He was 3 years out from the of that age range. Even at 17, it would look kind of iffy to me. But he was 20. Now, this was before I think he really got into the NBA, or before he became a household name. But they found a way to kind of throw that under the rug. Now, what's crazy is a lot of people have come down on R. Kelly. And, R. Kelly, has the issues that he clearly does have. But I don't know if I read anywhere where it said R. Kelly got any underage girl pregnant. But Karl Malone did. And the girl, she ended up carrying the baby full term. And Karl Malone ended up having a son. And this is his son right here. His name is Demetrius Bell. And I'm going to actually read something right here from the Vintage Bills Twitter account. It says, did you know Buffalo Bills 7th round draft pick in 2009, Demetrius Bell, is the son of NBA Hall of Famer Karl Malone. Bell started 30 games at overtime in 3 years in Buffalo. Demetrius Bell was born to 20-year-old Malone and a 13-year-old mother in 1984 in Louisiana. It said he was a 20-year-old sophomore at Louisiana Tech when he fathered a child with a 13-year-old by the name of Gloria Bell. This is Karl Malone's son that he had with a 13-year-old girl. Now, this picture of his son is most likely clearly an older picture as well, because I don't believe his son plays in the NFL anymore. But yeah, I actually found this out over the weekend. I didn't even know about this bit of news until I had saw it on Facebook. So yeah, and then I've also heard some other things about Karl Malone, even while he was in the NBA. But you got to think, this was before my time. Like, this is before I was born. You know, when Karl Malone was playing in the NBA, he got in a couple years before I was born, and by the time I was old enough to know what the NBA was, he was already out of the league. So yeah, again, he's very fortunate that he didn't go to jail for that. And my question is, where were her parents? Where was his parents? Like, how did this even happen? And how did this stay under wraps for so long? And here's the thing. Karl Malone did not meet his son until way later in life, when I think he was around 17. So Karl Malone wasn't even in his son's life at all until he was about to turn 18. So he missed out on everything. Like, he basically did not even raise his son or help raise his son from the time he was a baby until he was in his teenage years. And then from what I was also reading, when he did finally meet him, Karl Malone, to me, from what I've read, was kind of standoffish towards his son. Like, basically saying, you know, like, I'm your dad and everything like that, but don't expect me to do the whole thing, the whole dad thing, because it's already too late. Clearly, we already know that, because, I mean, it's already done. He's almost pretty much a grown man at this point. Like, you already missed out on those pivotal years when you were needed. So not only is this guy, in so many words, a pedophile, but he's also a deadbeat dad. But this is who they cheered for. This is who they cheered for at the All-Star game when they highlighted him. But they booed him. All over them, over-exaggerating him, posting a harmless link. Go figure. But it doesn't surprise me. Again, this is Utah, the Mormon state. They're basically cheering on their history. When you look back through history and probably look through some of their current family history, a lot of that was going on, and plus some other things as well, but I ain't gonna get into all of that, but y'all know what I mean. If you know, you know. But you know what? Kyrie Irving, from what I heard, he was unfazed by it. Again, I didn't watch the game, so I don't know how his performance was, but I'm going to say that he probably, you know, most likely had a good one, considering that when he left Brooklyn and went to Dallas on his first game with Dallas, he was killing it on the court. Silencing all his haters. Of course, they're going to still talk, but, you know, Kyrie Irving is one of those unbothered types, so it doesn't really matter what they have to say. As long as he's performing at peak performance, that's all there really is to it.